All right, so unfortunately the battery in my camera is dead, so you guys don't get to see my beautiful face today, but all at the same time, I'm gonna show you how to use the rotate tool to create a zentangle or adult coloring book, or a lot of different ways that you can use this, okay? I've also done it to make a flower. I'm going to show you a technique, and then there's a lot of different ways that this can be used. So I made a new document, File New, or Control N. One of the things I want to do is I want to get rid of my artboard on this. This 8.5 by 11 piece of white paper is not really cutting it for me. I need more space for what I'm doing. I need a little elbow room. So I'm going to go up to View, and then I'm going to go down to Hide Artboards. Okay, the shortcut for that is Control-Shift-H. All that does is just make it so that your artboard is hidden, and now I have everything is that big white space. You can't tell where my artboard is and where it's not. There it is, there it's not, okay? And I did the shortcut there. All right, so I'm gonna draw out a circle, okay? Let's just make our ellipse tool, and I'm just gonna draw a circle. Click and drag to draw it out, okay? Now, right now, this circle is white on the inside with a black outside. I can tell because of this down here in the corner. I'm gonna make my stroke just a little bit bigger, just so we can see what we're doing. And that is fine. We'll leave that. We'll talk about changing color in a minute. Okay? So what I'm going to do now is, anytime you're doing something in Illustrator, remember you have to tell it what you want to do and what you want to do it to. I want to make this circle have rotating copies all the way around. So I'm going to select this circle because that's what I'm working on. Okay? And then I'm going to go over here. I have an option for the rotate tool right here. Okay? So when I go to the rotate tool, which the shortcut for that was R, the letter R, when I do that, I can just rotate my object. That works, right? But I also can do, if I select my rotate tool, then I can hold down Alt. And when I hold down Alt, wherever I click is going to give me a point of origin, okay? That's where it's going to rotate around. So for example, if I were to click at the bottom of this circle, then I get this dialog that pops up, and I can put in a value here, okay? Whatever value I do is how much it's going to rotate. So if I put in, let's say 20, all right? And then instead of doing OK, don't do OK, all right? Because if I just do OK, it's just going to rotate that one object. I'm going to do copy. So now that leaves my original one there, and it makes a copy of it, okay? Now this is a technique I haven't shown you yet. There is a shortcut. I don't know the long way of doing this, but it is, maybe it's under Effect. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The shortcut is Control-D, as in duplicate, okay? So when you do something, you can hold down Control and hit the letter D, and it will continue to go around, okay? And so now I have this nice little flower type design, and I can go and make maybe a circle in the middle. I hope I don't like that. I'm gonna do it kind of like that. Maybe move that over a little bit. Okay, I can select the objects, change the colors, whatever I want to do, right? Okay, so but there's another option, and I'm going to hold down spacebar to move this over. Okay, so I haven't moved my object, I just moved my artboard. So if I do the same circle, actually I'm just going to do Alt-Drag to get the exact thing that we were using over here. Alt-Drag. Okay, Alt-Drag makes a copy of it as you move it. Okay, I use Alt-Drag every day. All right, so now when I go to I have that selected, I don't have that other, I've deselected all this over here. I just have this selected, okay? And I'm gonna go to my rotate tool. And so now let's put it a little bit further over, right? So I hold down Alt, and instead of putting it at the bottom of the circle, I'm gonna hold down Alt and click maybe over here to the side. Maybe over here, like that. All right, keeping it at 20, doing copy, okay? And then Control-D. But now it is a different shape, right? Because I'm going around that other circle, that the center that it's rotating from. Picture a string here, right? And drawing that string out from the middle. Well, the last one that we did, that looks like one of those little butterscotch cookies that you know what I'm talking about, little Girl Scout cookies. So anyway, that is how you do that, okay? This was because we clicked at the bottom of it, okay? So a lot of different ways you can get different results using this technique. You also could do, all of these that I've drawn so far have a white inside. If you don't have a white inside, or if you don't have a colored inside, if you change it to be a transparent, or make the fill color none, okay, so same exact object, let's just grab that again, bring this down here, Alt-Drag as I go. Okay, and now I'm going to change the inside color of this to be nothing. Right now, my fill color is set to white, so I'm going to change my fill color to none, which is that little the white with the red slash through it either means none, or it means scuba diver, or it means half of the Alabama state flag. Okay, so, but here in Illustrator, it means none. All right, so, and now I'm going to do the same thing I did the first time, rotate tool, and I'm going to hold down Alt and click at the very bottom, and the same thing, 20 degrees, and you'll get different results, by the way, if you do something different than 20 degrees. And now I hit copy, and as I go, because it's a transparent background, I end up getting these little spirograph, zentangle type designs, right? And so now I've got, not only do I have the object, but also there's objects that interact, and now that as they cross, they get more and more complicated. So same thing if I were to do, and I don't know exactly where I clicked, but if I were to do, nope, that's shape builder tool, this is rotate. Same thing if I were to do it over here, Control D, 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 okay? All right, and as I go all the way around, it doesn't fill in anymore because it is set 20 is divisible by 360, okay? So why would that matter, 20 to being divisible by 360? What do we know 360 to be? If I said you did a 360, it's a full circle, so you turned all the way around, right? So if you chose a number, that lined up perfectly, right? So one other thing you can do, I mean, there's several other things that you can do. I want to copy the original. Let's keep that going. Okay, so give me a number that is not divisible, not evenly divisible by 360. Anybody give me a number that is not evenly divisible by 360? 17 is not evenly divisible by 60. So if I put in 17 here and do copy, it looks very similar because 17 is very close to that original number, right? I'm going to zoom in so you can see what it's doing. Okay, Control D, duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. Then when I get back around here, it just doesn't match up. It barely is off because 17 is close to 20, but also it's not divisible by 360. And so now as I go around, you see I get that double, you see those double lines there, right? And so I'm going to go all the way around. And you see in the middle, it's getting really kind of closed in already. So I could stop right here. That's perfect. It's closed off. Or I could go around, and now I'm getting a third line, right? So I'm getting a different result as I go around. And I'm holding down Control D to just kind of keep going here, right? The more you do it, the more it fills in, and the more complicated it gets, okay? Which can be good or bad, depending on your design, right? So, but all of these are just made up of a whole bunch of circles, right? And in theory, if you wanted to, you could do a shape, you know, here in the middle to kind of calm some of that down. So I could put a white shape on top of that, okay? And do something like that if I wanted to. And now I have like, I don't know, the side of a headphone or something, right? Okay, so that is one way how you can create, and there's a lot of different things that you can do, but the two main things that I showed you right there that you will use all the time is the fact that you can rotate something using the rotate tool and put a specific number in. But one of the main things that I just went over very quickly that is very important, let me change the color here. One of the main things that I did very quickly that's very important is that if you hold down Alt, you can see my mouse right now, how it's black and it's got that little box next to it. If I hold down Alt, it changes to that black triangle with the white triangle next to it. So I can move that and make a copy of it, right? And then guess what? Control D still works here, right? The last thing I did was I clicked that box and I made a copy of it as I dragged it. So if I do Control D, it does it again. It does it again. It does it again. I could select all of these pieces. I'm holding down Shift as I do it. Alt drag, holding down Shift to make sure it lines up perfectly. Okay? And just like that, I can go from one box to 60 boxes that are perfectly spaced apart from each other, right? And so if I were to do this and try to do it one at a time, not only would it take a while, if I did, okay, so then, oh no, wait, that's copy and then paste, and then let me line this up exactly. Is that where I want? And then let me paste it again. Is that, I don't know, maybe. And so especially when you're dealing with something that the space and the gap matters, that Alt drag and Control D is very, very, very helpful. Okay, so rotate tool, Control D and Alt drag. Okay, and that's it.